You see it on the screen, Rod? Since a
Hmm.
woman, when we're talking about parthenogenesis, since a woman can have a baby by herself, is it possible that some of these witches are having babies, pure bloodline witches and wizards offspring?
Mm.
Mm.
That's totally possible. I wouldn't rule it out.
A lot of
I
stuff.
wouldn't rule it out because when you get into the higher cult, it started teaching you how to access parts of your anatomical being that you don't even know you can do.
Right.
They used to do exhibits and they used to call them jugglers a long time ago in India, where the monks would go in the hills and pick up some exotic skill that you can do with the body that nobody ever thought about. And then they come down for the people and let them see, and they call them jugglers. This would be for the circus. So they know it's a lot of people that's high functioning witches and warlocks. Well, warlock is a misnomer. It's really witches and wizards, male and female, and they have certain capabilities that regular people will never have the ambition to develop, let alone even be aware of that their body can do. This is where you get your contortionist from, because everything that we do with the body, we have to train the body to perform. And through the training process, you is required for you to use a great amount of willpower to develop the type of physique for the function that you wanted to perform. But you got to have what's called the base material. So a person that's built like let's say a beer drinking couch potato, is he not gonna never be a contortionist. He's not gonna never have the, because his body has developed outside of that reality. He'll become more flexible, but he'll never become a contortionist. For one, his fat ass stomach gonna get in the way. But for the ones they start them out, they normally start them out as babies. And when
Mm.
they start them out as babies, you can mold the body to do stuff that once you get 6, 7, 8 years old, it won't be able to do no more. That's why gymnasts like to start at 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah, because what they put their body through, my goodness, you have to break bones in order to be so flexible. That is
I,
commitment. Ballerinas too.
and I'm saying for the record, I have went back to 2017, and Wendy looked the
Yeah, I'm
same
talking
way she
about
do now.
1999. But
I'm
I
just
put it in the
saying,
back. Look at
Why are we still
1999.
talking about Wendy Williams?
I just happened to look on there. I don't know about that. But wait,
Yes. Why are we talking about Wendy? What?
because I wanted to. Y'all not
Cause she
with
look,
me.
cause she looking
Like
like a
Well, I
man.
just wanted
yesterday.
to show you, Sister Freedom. That was for you, Sister Freedom, just to say what I was saying.
I'm just saying that he gonna say what
Y'all gonna leave Wendy
because
alone?
he sounded like he the type of person in the house like what? Like now listen to you know what his voice was like
I
stern.
used to like Wendy Williams. Y'all.
Y'all
Love
gonna
the
leave her
You
Wendy
alone?
Williams.
laughing about it.
Ooh, she talked too
She
much.
was
She did that to
exposing the
Fox,
Diddy
and
before
she did
for a
that
lot
Yep.
of
to
people
2000
Yes,
stuff
today.
too.
yes, I got yes,
She's the
yes. I'll
first
give
one
you that.
exposing all that.
I'll give you that. She was the first one talking about it. I'll give you that. And this goes way back to
The first one talking about what? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Diddy and his parties.
Oh
Yeah,
what now
Diddy
you know
and
what I don't like?
these
Listen,
gay
let me say this
rappers.
though. Let me say
Them
this
kinky
though.
boys.
Let me say this though. Why we do that? If they want to say something about Diddy, because Diddy been having these parties since when that why we gotta say something too? I mean, every time the undone man go on one of ours, we jump right on the bang on the wagon with him. We wasn't
Yeah,
saying
but
nothing
some of
before,
them,
but we wasn't
no.
saying nothing before that to make
Well,
no
we
big stink
were. No,
about
no,
it.
no, no. That's not true.
No,
That's
I don't
not
think that.
true.
I ain't
We
never.
That's not
were,
true.
but
That's not
now
true.
that we
And
It
but
went
now
crazy once they start saying. Once
no,
they
no.
start
I
saying
think
something about.
I see what you're saying. I get what you're saying, Freedom. But I do think, and this is where you and I always have this difference, right? I always tell you, just because somebody have melanin, don't make them one of ours. You understand? That
What you
just because a
say? Say
person,
it again. I didn't hear you.
just because a person is skin folk don't make them kinfolk, as the saying goes. Just because a
Okay,
person
well,
has, hold on.
Go
Just
ahead.
because a person has melanin, that don't make them one of ours. That doesn't mean that they need protection. I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Demons come in all form, shape, colors. Just because they have melanin don't make them one of ours. And I think that's the sometimes that's like the biggest aha people got to come to grips with, because
And
we
I think,
assume.
and the
I
thing
think
too,
you
we
missed it.
didn't
I
know,
think
we
you
didn't
missed
know
No,
it
I
was.
got it. I got it.
No, I think you missed it. What I'm trying to say is this man been having these parties like all the rest of them. Been having these parties since parties began. And they
Yeah.
when the people at the party, they want to be there. The people that he was messing with wanted him to mess with them because you ain't got to do what he wanted you to do.
Yeah, but
Okay.
then we didn't know it
Wait a
was
minute,
all
though.
connected.
No,
We
the
didn't know it
point
was
that I'm
all
trying to make
connected.
is we always our own worst enemies about. So soon as somebody else starts saying something about one of us, I'm not saying what he did with. Let me make sure I be clear on that.
All right.
I'm not saying anything that he did was correct. What I'm saying is, wasn't nobody, one of us, like making no big deal about it.
And,
On
but that's
record.
not
No,
true,
that's not
Sister
true.
Freedom.
That's not
Just
true.
because you're not aware, people had already turned on him when Biggie's mom exposed him. We knew he killed Biggie. Like what? People were already
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about
A lot of
Diddy and
I
how
people,
don't
it
a
know
lot
was
of
that.
people
I didn't
turned
see
their
it.
back,
I
and
ain't
plus,
see it. I ain't saying it happened.
for the thing. So,
and
well, you
plus,
can't
Say
say
allegedly.
that because
I
it was
ain't
us.
saying
It was people that looked like us that were exposing that. No white people were like, "Oh, Diddy killed Biggie" or anything. It was us that were like, "We don't like Diddy." Biggie's mom was like, "He's a fraud. He's doing all this stuff undercover. He
it. He
did
still
that
ain't
to
go to
take the
jail.
money." So it doesn't matter. You just said that no one was against him that looked like us. Now you're talking about he wasn't in jail. So
No,
that's
I'm gonna tell you
irrelevant if
what
he
I
was in
said and
jail
why
or
I'm
not.
saying it.
We were against him then because we saw the conspiracy against him with the whole, and there were people that, of course, they'd be like, "Oh, we love Diddy still" or anything, but there was a big group of people that was against Diddy and been wanting Diddy to go under when we saw that and believed the conspiracy that he had something to do with Biggie's death.
Okay, something to do, and we knew. I ain't got nothing to do with that. I'm just saying, now that Diddy is locked up, now that R. Kelly is locked up, now that when Bill Cosby was locked up, we really wasn't saying too much about it. That was making a big stink about it all through the
That's not
YouTube and
true.
stuff.
That's not
that's
true,
that.
though.
It's not
Not you.
true.
We
All
talking
right,
about
they did
Diddy.
not live in
You just
Delaware.
brought up Cosby.
Yeah, Delaware. I
Cosby.
could see Delaware not saying
Yeah,
much.
that's not true.
But
No,
we
when I
were
say that,
seeing
as
R.
to say
Kelly
is,
outside of the middle school waiting on girls. Like, what is wrong with him? We were pissed about Aaliyah. Like, so maybe it's a Delaware thing. But that was so messed up about Aaliyah. And we didn't like him. We didn't like her mama. We didn't like her daddy. We didn't like her uncle. We were pissed off about Aaliyah. Aaliyah
I
was
wasn't.
12 when
I
Aaliyah was starting
wasn't.
to be taught over there. I get it. I'm saying I get it. Delaware wasn't upset. I'm
No,
telling you
I was
that
living on that
people
city
were
then.
upset.
So
There
I'm
were
just saying.
many people that were upset. Just Delaware wasn't.
No, I don't know why you making that a point, and please don't do that. What I'm saying when I said something about Delaware, I was just being sarcastic. What I'm saying is we just skip it because I know what I'm.
Yeah, let's skip it. Let's
Just
skip.
skip
Let's
it.
skip. Let's skip. Let's
Yeah,
move on,
just
y'all.
skip
Rod
it.
sleep. Rod, you sleep.
Because I don't know how we
I
got
don't
here.
sleep. I rest though, but I ain't resting right now.
I'm just saying.
Somebody
Well,
sound like
it's
they.
going on 1 in the morning, y'all. Actually, it's going on 1 o'clock in the
Yeah,
morning.
we always jumping on the wagon,
Yo, Rod, I got a quick question.
but wasn't on the wagon before. Might
Go
have
ahead.
said
What's your question?
We were on the wagon
no,
with
you
you
weren't.
woke.
What's
No,
your
you
take?
weren't. No, you
What's
Dean
your
weren't.
has a
take
I
on
heard you
question.
say nothing about those people until they.
Dean has a question. Go ahead, Dean.
what's your take on Canada and his position and Trump's position on Canada? Where you see that going?
Liquidating the corporation, Canada is part of it. America and Canada has the same QSIP number. It's the same corporation that owns both of them. So when you liquidate one, it's going to automatically liquidate the other one. So what he's telling you is that this is one landmass.
Yep.
One landmass that we was already on before they came. Before the tribes get it back, they got to tear down the corporation. The republic got to give it back to the tribal government, continuity of government. returning of everything back to the people.
They also going after Greenland. And if y'all didn't know, the headquarters of the CIA is up in Greenland. So they trying to get to Greenland just for that too.
Well, Greenland was part of Turtle Island too.
Oh,
It's just not commonly talked about or known, but it was the closest of our bodies of land to Europe.
I asked that question because what I do really, everybody's sweating when it comes to the banking system. Right now in Canada, in Toronto alone, we're about to go on record of the most renewals for mortgages right now ever in the history.
Unbelievable.
And they're sweating right now because everybody's renewal is not going down, it's going up. And they can't afford it. And I'm telling you firsthand, because I talk to people every single day about their homes and their wallets and their largest investment. And people are
I'm also in financing. I know what you mean, bro.
They're about to lose their homes and they have to downsize. And just before in 2020 and 2022, people started buying homes. Now it's renewal time and they can't afford it.
They're
going to have to sell their homes and they're going to have to downside. But there's a lot of people right now in delinquency. There's a lot of stagnant homes that are not moving because a lot of people who are wanting to buy homes are not making any movements because they're like, I don't know. And there's this complete uncertainty. And
because look at what happened to
a lot of people about to be out
insurance.
of jobs up here. And there's a lot of people about to be, unfortunately, out of their homes.
Yeah.
And it's cold. It's real cold. And
do you see Canada becoming a state?
I'm with whatever. I don't really care. I'm down with it. I said
yes, they don't have a choice.
Like to me, it's like it just needs to go back to the rightful people. Like, you know what I mean? And we're the rightful keepers of this land, this whole Turtle Island, right from South America up. We're the ones who are talking about this. We're doing this. We're doing the homework. We're the rejects. We know who we are. We're unapologetically not African. We know that. It's clear as day. Our phenotype's not the same. Our energy don't move the same. Our energy is not the same. Why do we do carnival the same? We jump up. We have the same feathers, the same. It's the same shit. We do the same thing. It's in our DNA. It's being expressed all the time, and we can't see it. The ignorant ones in our family are still stuck. They're still stuck in that white Jesus shit. I don't even go there with them. I'm not even trying to convince them. I leave that shit alone because I know that's a mental health, and I leave that shit alone because you know why? They will slap you in your face. I've always been the reject. I've always been crazy, and I accept it. I must be crazy in this fucking bullshit world. Like, who doesn't see that? Right? You got to understand that. That's why I don't fight with people to educate people who want to be stuck. And unfortunately, our people are really stuck. And they got to go to the bullshit. If they want to understand YT people, they need to just understand. Start looking at the Cabbage Patch. And a lot of the white people ain't European that we see.
Right.
The Europeans that did this look just like us. And you need to understand that. Kendrick even had to tell you that. They look like they're not like us. I've been telling you that for how many years? It flipped our head every time we found out there was a whole bunch of people that were doing some trauma to us that look just like us. Their phenotype's a little off. Their energy is definitely off. But they were doing all this trauma to us.
I told you the most traumatic thing I ever learned in all of my studies is that the white man ain't even white.
Yeah.
Talking about hurt feelings. Talking about having a real bad attitude about something. I thought we was gonna have a party and kill Whitey, and I come to find out Whitey ain't even white. I got all the way up there to bop the man, and he looked like me.
Yeah. That's a hard one. And we know we're not. I'm African. I love Africa. We probably got Africans in our family. But when the people over here and the indigenous people need to understand, we probably have more European, Black European in us than we do have African. That's what you need to accept too. Because they married right into our families.
And that's how they were stealing our stuff. Because our women would never give up no land. None of the chiefs from here would give up land. And the only way to do it is a sweetheart swindle. That's last. When you come back to it, you'll see what. That's the last one. Yep. So here you're starting to see pictures of afros. Right? This common hairstyle commonly referred to an afro. But the afro term was coined in reference to the hairstyle in the 60s. Then a lot of the chiefs wear this hairstyle during wartime. And normally all of the soldiers cut their hair, and the chief is the only one with a full afro. Now, the reason we bring this up is because we want to go into what did the people of the land call the afro when they got here. The original name of the afro is named after a tribe. So the war bonnet, the full feather war bonnet, is because the general, whether it was Sid Bull, Crazy Horse, whoever is the commander of military contingent is out front. We didn't fight like Europeans who fight from the back. The leadership is in the back of the troops. We led our troops in the battle because we trying to take the king of the other tribe. We're not trying to murder everybody. Right? We're not trying to wholesale mass execute everybody. But this hairstyle had the same significance to old Mississippian tribes going into Louisiana, going back to other way into Alabama, Arkansas, and Georgia. We wore this style to be seen by the soldiers. Right? A lot of times when we wore this style, some of the tribes, they had different traditions for the soldiers. So we're going to go show a few more images of different prominent individuals during the struggle. Now, this is an ancient picture of an Afro chief. Well, not ancient. It's probably about 100 years old or so. But this is what we would call an Afro chief. Now, you see he got one feather. That means if he got one or two feathers, he's the new initiate as a chief with one feather. If he got two feathers, he's what you call a scout chief. The scout chief go and spend time with different chiefs across the land in order to learn what the chiefs are doing to benefit their people. Right? So the one feather is he a new chief. He's just coming in. He haven't earned all his stripes, but so far at this point, he's stand up solid. Right? So you go to the next one.
Oh, that ain't supposed to be part of yours. I will come back to that. I don't know how to get it. I don't know what the hell. All right, that's it right there.
Okay, this is a rap group from the early 90s. And some of us remember them, but they called the Afros. Right? But they all four of those dudes know they indigenous to the land. They are organic original to the Americas. And they was making a parody about the Afro in the music and culture. Right? So this group is called the Afros. Y'all can look them up and listen to some of their music. But the Afro, for them, they was using it as a parody, as in don't forget the Afro chiefs. So they make a joke out of it, so we don't talk about it, but we need to talk about it. That's why they made the joke.
Okay.
Right? So it tells us this is a subject that people got to understand about the hairstyles that we wear. They all have a purpose. Okay, now go on the next one. I forgot her name, but she is an actress, right? And many of us thought she was Paleface. but here she is with an afro, identifying ancient American culture. She pretty too.
Mm-hmm.
Next, Rhoda Cohn. This is Solange Knowles, better known as the little sister to Beyonce, but she know who she is, and she wear the afro, and she don't always agree with her sister or her brother-in-law. As a matter of fact, they've had many clashes between what should be done and what's actually being done, and they'll tell their own story in due time. Next one, Elder.
One of them is he got Kelly Rowley pregnant.
Okay, this right here is Diana Ross, formerly known as the Boss. Well, I think they still call her the Boss. But here she is wearing an afro during her Motown days, right? Remember, in the tribal systems, women are chiefs too.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta remember that part. But when you see them with the afro like this, that means that they out front for you to see them as a member of one of the tribes.
Mm-hmm.
Roll the corn. Next one. This is Angela Bassett. Whatever we say about her, think she is or is not, here she is representing for the tribes with the afro.
Right. Fire.
Right? Roll the corn. Next one.
Yeah, she Creek. She's Muskogee. She's Muskogee. Well, we already checked it.
Here is the warrior that is one of the reasons why we use this as a moniker calling card to war, the afro. Big Tookie, Crooked Man Walking, Raising Dion. You see that cloud that turned into a physical form?
Yeah, Dallas.
Yeah, that's Big Tookie. He can do that from the Astros. He can accumulate the clouds around him, but you're going to see some lightning in the clouds.
Mm-hmm.
If you see, it's the same as the parody is performed in the show called Raising Dion. Right? In Raising Dion, you see him in his, what we call his pure God form, which is walking lightning.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all of those boys see walking, they charge in the atmosphere with electromagnetic energy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because the Crip Walk is the charging of the electricity. The earth is grounding. Magnetism. Mm-hmm. So every time you see in one of them experts Crip walking, they harnessing the energy of Big Tookie. Mm-hmm. Crip walking is mimicking him walking chained up on death row.
All right, go ahead.
Roll the coin. Next one. Here you see my chief. This is who I grew up in my tribe recognized as our chief. This is none other than Larry Hoover. You see him wearing the afro.
Right.
This was a fingerprint of old Mississippian Afro tribes. Right? So you see he even got his boys in afros.
Right.
Roll the corn. Let's see who we got next. Another picture of Larry in his afro.
I thought that dude that looked familiar.
Here's Chief Malik Angel Bay. He got his afro under a hat. So he had to cut his afro with a slightly different design. But if you know Chicago culture, when you see him with that hat over that afro, he's telling you that he's not only an afro chief, you got to look at that hat. Jefe Blanco in Latin, the chief with the white hat, or the great white chief. He's telling you that he's supposed to be the lawman on the land. This guy right here, responsibility to the collective tribes is to bring and unify all of the warring tribes under one banner to defend the homeland. The problem is the government knew who he was. He was him and Larry both in Chicago, as well as King David, Big Bull, Mickey Caldwell, all of Booty Black. All of them were on the list of people needed to be neutralized by COINTELPRO.
Right.
Right. But you see, the Afro is still telling us who to look at out front. Let's go to the next Rotocorn. This Huey P., one of the co-founders of the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the record, it was him, Huey P. Newton, and a guy named I got his name on tip of my tongue, but my brain locking up on me trying to say it. Bobby Seale.
Oh, okay. I could have told. Yeah, I know too.
Okay, they are the co-founders of the Oakland branch of the Black Panther Party. Right. For the record, Bobby Seale is a university professor now and no longer participate in activist activities. And I'm gonna leave that where it's at. Roll the coin. Let's see who next. Angela Davis herself. She made us recognize the iconic status of the Afro. She was a close friend and comrade to all of the Oakland leadership, as well as Jonathan and George Jackson and several other chiefs that we don't remember. She was supposed to be with Jonathan Jackson when he got killed when they was going to the courthouse, but Jonathan Jackson told the driver to run off and leave her because he didn't want Angela Davis to be held accountable for what they was about to do. So they left her. That's the only reason she wasn't there when the shootout went down. Roll the coin. Sada herself. I sure wish she could have had a chance to come home. But
Right.
no crying over spilled milk. She's still gonna get her reward because she did a righteous work. But Asada territory was the New Jersey territory. This is where she was supposed to be the tribal mother at. But the government had other plans for her, and they decided that they wanted to brand her as a criminal and kill off the people that was with her, who was also other chiefs that was her family. So they killed them all off except for her. I think she was the sole survivor. No, it was one more. I think it might have been Seiko Odinga that was with her, or he might have been one that came to help get her. But there was only like 2 people left after the shootout, the alleged shootout with the police on the turnpike. We think it was an ambush.
Mm-hmm.
None of us who studied the history of the Assata Shakur core case believe that the Panthers or the Black Liberation Army or whoever you want to call them at the time decided they was just going to kill some state troopers. That's not what happened. They all named all of those people that was in that car. Name is on COINTELPRO neutralization list.
Right.
In government terms, they don't say assassination; they say neutralization.
Right.
Right. And she survived. So rather than allowing her to be free and tell her story and rally the troops, they had to isolate her. Military strategy 101. If you capture a commanding general for the other side, you don't kill them. You quarantine them because you're going to know that sooner or later the soldiers are going to attempt to mount extraction of the general, and you use the general as the bait to create a trap to get the most soldiers from the other side as possible. And this is what made her decide to engineer her own escape rather than let the soldiers do it, because it's different when you escaping from an inside perspective than when somebody's coming to get you. Right? But they was coming to get her one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
Roll the coin. The king himself, Michael Jackson, before they tried to assassinate him and set him on fire, this was the GOAT. in the music industry. At this point, this was around right before Off the Wall, right? But they whole family were Afros.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they still trace back to old Mississippians by way of Gary, Indiana. Right? A lot of us don't know that. Both his mother and father can tell you they original tribal heritage from the land, even though they think that they black. But black is just a fictitious term used to confuse the minds of the masses. Roll the coin.
Oh, I don't know how they got it for now.
Oh yeah, that's my girl right there. That's what's her name?
Not Foxy Brown. What her name?
Pam Grier.
Yeah, Pam Grier.
And Pam Grier played any role that would make a woman look as powerful as possible, considering the scripts she was given. If she didn't look powerful and able to stand up on her own, she didn't take the role. She didn't want to be the damsel in distress. She wanted to be the mama with the big gun coming to get the soldiers from out of the pressure.
Right.
So you see all her movies, she's always either toting a gun or something. She's doing something that indicate this chief here is powerful and she coming to the rescue.
And you can tell that she a far people because of how her hair look. It's a far hairstyle. Yeah.
This is the general himself, George Soledad Jackson, brother Jackson. The Soledad letters, commonly called Blood in My Eye, and his seminal work called I forgot the first book he wrote, but he had two books. One of them is a book of letters, and one of them is his take on the struggle from different perspectives. We're going through different things of how he analyzing these people's motives and their resources and means. So this is the founder of the Black Guerrilla family and one of the first military counselors to the original Black Panther Party. He started the Black Guerrilla family because he believed that Eldridge Cleaver and people like him was changing the Black Panther Party into something other than what its intended purpose was, which was to liberate the people from the tyranny of government.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So when he left the Panthers as the military advisors, this is what made Geronimo G. Jacob Pratt have to come to LA because they needed another military strategist. And he specialized in that during his term in the war. I think he was fighting in Vietnam. When he came back, his elders in Mississippi say, we need the Panthers in Oakland need a military strategist and advisor. We want you to go out there. He tell the story himself.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But what most people don't know is he was already a Black Panther before the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense was created.
Mm-hmm.
The first Black Panther Party was out of Mississippi. And then you had the Black Panther Brigade, which was made up of the male members of some of those clans made the Black Panther Brigade, who went in to World War II fighting under General Patton. General Patton said out of his own mouth, and y'all can go verify this, that he called them by their brigade number. I think it was 151, but I'm not sure. So you have to look it up. Black Panther Brigade. He said they would be the ones to liberate America from the tyranny that was coming.
Mm-hmm.
So he knew tyranny was coming, and he said that without the Black Panther Party or the Black Panther Brigade members, they came into civilian society and became civilians. But that didn't mean that you don't see the war at home. You just came from fighting one overseas, and you come back and you still fighting the war at home. You know something is wrong, and something got to be done. And then from there, you get other groups that was defending the land with different names over the years. Raw corn. Now, this one right here ties to the metaphysical value of the strands of hair that make up the afro, which we call it the nine ether, right? And the first person to explain to us in intricate detail the nine ether was Malachi Z. York. But the information that he was teaching under nine ether information still comes in by way of, they call it African root science or black root science, right? Which ties to other prior incarnations of the root science being fed to us, being spoon fed to us. So let's see what we got next, Elder. Okay. You want to read this? You want me to read it?
Can you see it?
Yeah. Powers of nine ether, the sum total of numbers. There are no numbers actually higher than nine. Nine ether is the combo of all existing gases of nature. Thus, all is in all. Therefore, nine ether is the most potent power in the universe. 9 to the ninth power of 9, which is actually 3 nines, 999. 9 is symbolic of heaven, creation, and birth. 9 is a number whose square root is 3, a number which is symbolic of 3 dimensions. Hika, abode of mortals. Sia, abode of Elohim. Huhi, abode of the Most High. Nine ether is placed in the follicle hair case of all woolly, nappy-haired people, and it produces the 9 symbol. The number 9 is the highest number in the universe, making 9 ether beings infinite, meaning immortal. Right? And remember, 9 in the sky is 6 on the ground, and vice versa. Go to the next one, Adam. Roll the corner. This is a demonstration of what we just read, and what it looked like at different stages of growth. If you can look at the picture on the top left, right, that's called a galactic swirl. But in common native terms, we just call it a cowlick. But it's really called the galactic swirl. And based on, like, this person has the galactic swirl on their left side. This is the daddy's boy.
Yeah, you go to the left. Yeah, okay. That's fire.
Okay. Only reason I'm not going to read over the follicles is because we're going to read the same thing in another clip. This is when you allow the 9 ether to grow. It begins up taking this form, but in order for it to take that form, you don't have to do much. But over time, if you're laying down a lot, sitting down a lot like we do, you're going to have it flat in the back or flat on the sides like mine is now. From laying down and sitting down, packs it down. But generally, this is 9 ether. When the women tap into it, and they feeling themselves, the swagger that comes with it is called black girl magic.
Fire.
Which ties you into dream visions, the symbol of the owl, all that goes through black girl magic. Black girl magic is what you call a dream guide. And she can guide you through a night vision or a dream and help you to remember the dream if she's tapped into her own inner magic. Black girl magic ain't no joke. Ask Erykah Badu.
Yeah, that's my girl right there.
Baduism is an extension of black girl magic.
See who know. On and on and on and on. See
Roll the
one number.
corn.
Okay, hold on. Okay.
Okay, now this is why I didn't read it earlier, because this is where we're gonna go over what the 9 ether is. This is directly out of a Malachi York book. 9 ether is the highest of all spiritual powers activated through nature and the hormones of the human Elohim. Manifesting 9 to the 9th power of 9. See, blow it up a little bit more, Eldo. I want to see the 9s.
Good.
See 9 to the 9 to the 9?
Yeah, 999.
Right. That's what I was saying earlier. It's 9 to the 9th power of the 9th power of 9, which is the highest of supreme mathematics as seen in our hair texture. The number 9 is a symbol of birth. We have a natural curl in our hair that shapes like a 9. We, the Elohim, lost our spiritual powers long ago when we interfered to change our 9 ether sheep-like woolly hair to emulate the 6 ether goat-like straight hair of Azazel, the fallen one, another name for Samael.
Which means pause and those of El. Samael means the pause and those of El.
So you see the difference in the follicles, show you the 9 ether versus the 6 ether.
Right.
The
Right.
star-born versus the earth-born.
Right. Right. Yeah, here's so I made more examples for your what you was talking about right here.
Yeah, you can do the dialogue on this one now.
All right, so yeah, this is what the 6 ether is right here. Naturally, we don't have, our people don't got this type of hair. We usually straighten it out or add the Hindu 6 ether hair to it, right? So really, this is just a Caucasoid type of the 6 ether is really like, it's not even hair really classified as hair technically. It's really fur, according to what Doc was saying. All right, so this is the 8 right here. Most of the Native Americans, like Doc said, got the 8, and that's why we can get the waves. Most of us got the 8. Now some of us got a 9 too. Some of us got a 9. I'm gonna show that too though. But this right here is what the 8 look like, and most of y'all got that right here. You can get the waves. Most of y'all over here.
Hold up before you go any further. Go back to that picture.
All right.
Okay, now the difference between 8 ether, 9 ether, when you're looking at how the pattern of the hair is laying on him with his brush waves, the distance is shorter between 9 ether waves, 8 ether waves, and 7 ether waves.
Okay.
That's how you can look at a person and you can tell if they 9 ether or 8 ether by the distance between the waves. So the ones that got the real short waves, that's true 9 ether.
Yeah.
When they have the large dipping waves, that's either 7 or 8 ether.
Right.
Well, yeah, roll the corn.
Yeah, if it's more straighter than his, it'll be a 7. But then see, here's an 8. Here's an 8. Then you got I got it in here. They're gonna show you though more. Now this right here is talking about it says from high vantage point. Oh, yeah, okay, talking about the trees, right? About the trees being like the afro, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is what it say right here, right at the top. It says from a high vantage point, the rounded, dense canopies of many trees resemble afros because of the natural outward growing pattern. Right, the phenomenon is influenced by several factors, including the tree's genetics. Listen at that. Hey, this is deep, bro. You might have to interpret this complex competition
for sunlight and a biological drive to maximize least exposure. So what it's telling you is nature following the path of least resistance, the natural structure of this tree, which mimics the 9 ether of the hair, is the optimum shape and structure in order, what it say, maximize photosynthesis. As they grow toward the sun, trees undergo a process called phototropism, which is the tendency to grow toward a light source. To maximize photosynthesis, the outer branches and leaves of the tree grow outward and upward toward the sun, creating a rounded shape.
And that's what our hair is. And look, that's why like fur 6 ether it go down. When it come out the hair and it go down. But 9 ether it go up towards the sun. Doc had broke this down too in that same book where you found that other piece.
9 ether, yep.
Yeah.
And, that's the Science of 9 ether, I think, is the name of that scroll.
Yeah. Yeah. So like you can see the resemblance of our hair and how it's nature. Our hair is a part of nature. And it grows towards the sun. The sun is pulling it up instead of like 6 ether going down, right? Here's some more pictures of just our different hairstyles and representing in Mother Nature right here. The afro is the most prominent one as far as the trees, but like it depends on even with like I'm gonna tell you something else, Raw. Even in certain areas where people wear their hairstyle a certain way, if you look at the trees resemble those hairstyles. Like even in Jamaica, in certain areas, like you got more of a jungle, dreadlock looking type trees.
Yeah, which is commonly called they species of ferns that you're speaking of. But they like some of them grow like a big tree instead of a bush plant. But yeah, you got different trees that represent different hair patterns. Like the big locks represented by the flat leaves of the palm tree. You ever see the big fat locks?
Yeah, the
big fat lock. Yeah, it look like more like a mat than a lock. Yeah, that's palm. Those represent palm leaves.
Fire.
Which a whole lot of metaphysics tied to that. Roticorn.
All right, so I predicted that because you talking about the afros, right? So I noticed that by around 1970, they came out with the Jerry curl, right? The Jerry curl that was invented in 1970 by American Hair Care Enterprise, Jerry Redian, and popularized in the 1980s within the Black community by entrepreneur Cartel. Within, so like what I'm getting at is when they saw how powerful we was with the afros, because they was during the time of the Black Panther movement, all of our movements that were building self-awareness and pretty much doing for self. And our hair is antenna. There's another slide there for to explain that. But they came out with that Jerry curl. What you think about that, Rob? When they came, when we was Black Power with the afros, they countered that with the Jerry curl. I believe they countered it with the Jerry. That's what Doc said too, though. What you think about the Jerry curl?
The Jerry curl was, we always knew how to change the texture of our hair. When you go back to Malcolm's biography, talk about when he got conked. Remember conk? Conk was a mixture of egg whites and light. That's why a lot of the dark-skinned tribes look like they got 6 ether hair. Because they was conking it. But that's because they was identifying with other dark tribes that had the naturally 7 ether hair, which was big waves that fell down like Chief Warhorse hair. Right? So we always knew how to change our hair's texture. The Jerry curl was a revival of the early 20s conking movement, which traces all the way back into Mississippian culture. Because if a man married into a straight hair tribe and he had an afro, he had to know how to conk. Because the straight hair people didn't know how to tend to the 9 ether hair. But by conking it, they know how to manage the 6 ether hair or the 7 ether hair better than the 9 ether hair. But it was also tied, your hair is tied to a receiver in your brain to translate the information around you into comprehensive knowledge that you can use. Medusa didn't have snakes in her head. She had dreadlocks, or what we called sacred locks back then. In the sacred locks, a lot of the ones who wore them was able to shoot what we call it static electricity today.
Mm-hmm.
They knew how to snap their locks and make them shoot that static electricity in a destination or a location, and it was like being struck by an electric eel.
Makes sense.
The energy was the same as being struck by an electric eel. But for us to never study the dread or the locks, they told us that she had snakes in her hair. The Jerry curl was a cultural phenomenon to embellish the natural self-hate of the oppressed and to utilize hair products to express the rage or the rebellion. Right? Jerry curl wasn't the only one, because all it is an extension of the conking culture of something that we already knew how to do. It was, you used to have to go to New Orleans, wherever you was on the land, to get conked. That's a FYI.
Hey, you know what? That makes sense what you're saying, because I see pictures now that when you start talking about it, my mind started flashing back to all the pictures that I seen of the old Mississippians and how they looked and how their hair looked. And I'm thinking that when you look at his hairstyle or look at the wig party, when these guys came over with the wigs after the Dirty Moors, right? After the Dirty Moors front man, they came over and started putting the wigs on. And the wigs resemble like a curl. And this right here before 1970s, right? So, but then you got another group that paints these the 1970 agenda to get rid of the Afro power. So what do you think about that? Like, is the agenda to get rid of the Afro, the soul glow, let your soul glow?
Well, we always did stuff with our hair. If you look through the ancient whether they're hieroglyphs, whether it's the pottery and petroglyphs of the Americas, you always see us, the men and the women, doing different types of adornments with our hair. You had a whole wig collection discovered in temples of Cairo because we invented the wig. It was part of priestly garb. See, when you was a pharaoh, or not the pharaoh is actually the lady of the house, the AI, right? When you were the AI, which they commonly point to as the pharaoh, but he's the pharaoh's husband, because the pharaoh is the lady of the house.
Right.
So when he come out, he might have headdress on.
Right.
It's a pomp and circumstances. So he might change based on the ritual. So it's best for him to shave everything off and only wear the ceremonial expression of the energy in wig form instead of letting his own personal hair grow. He can then do multiple ceremonies a year without having to worry about having his hair done over or her hair done over in the case of Hatshepsut, because she used to wear wigs over her hair. And so it was all about telling a story to the people in your appearance, right? So when I play the character Rod the Madman, I'm showing you the distress of our people in my appearance while I'm telling the story, which gives you a visual aid, and it causes the intellectual bridge between your right and left brain hemispheres.
Can you see that, Rod?
Hair can function like a biological antenna. antenna, not just physically by detecting touch and environment, but also a spiritual antenna in some belief systems to absorb and transmit energy and information from the universe. Now you see where it say transmit, right? Energy.
Yeah. Oh,
That's describing when Medusa is shooting them with her hair. She's emitting energy from her hair. Right. Now, while scientifically hair consists of dead keratin cells, its connection to the skin's sensory nerves. Remember I said the hair got connections that go straight to the brain? Allows it to act as a sensitive touch receptor, warning of danger or environmental changes. Culturally and spiritually, many traditions view hair as a conduit for spiritual energy. A conduit is something that translates something from one state into a whole different state. In this case, a spiritual conduit into the physical environment, right? To say, with some believing long hair enhances this connection, aiding intuition and spiritual development. And that's why my father had to tell me about my great grandma having her hair down past her ankles and dragging on the floor. That's a sign of rank in the tribal system. And this is why my mama used to have a fit when my sisters, especially my baby sister, cut her hair. Because now when she on the land and other tribes see her, they won't know her rank because she keep cutting her hair. Right? And her hair at one point was down to her butt when she was a little girl. But when she got to be older, she decided to cut it. And my mama was having a conniption about it, and she didn't know why. And at the time, I didn't think she'd listen to me for me to explain it to her. And I still don't.
Hey, this part right here talking about the perm. That's what I was going to ask you about the perm. So, Rod, do you think women should still do perms? Because it's a lot of chemicals in the perm that, like...
Look, I don't care what nobody do with their physical self.
Okay, go ahead.
You can take care of yourself or don't take care of yourself. That ain't none of my business.
Go ahead.
If people got enough sense to know what they putting on their hair or on their skin, if they got enough sense that they should have read the bottle and seen what it was and they didn't, then they deserve everything to come with that. If you don't know what you're putting in your stomach and you keep getting sick, you're supposed to until you figure out what it is making you sick. Right? We don't tell from under growth and development. Remember, my chief Larry Hoover. We don't micromanage people's life. We try to help people enhance how they live their life by giving them information that they didn't have before they met one of us.
That sounds good.
Right? In growth and development, we don't see the seeds of divide and conquer as our first course of action. Instead, we try to find a common ground to establish an unprejudiced relationship between two people. That's why we don't get into the race discussion, because you got some pale faces more loyal to Larry Hoover than some of his own soldiers that look like him from his background.
Right.
Right. We got one that we used to call white folks. Right. He gonna ride out. He gonna ride harder than any brother. They be seeing him ride and they be like, man, I ain't messing with him. Dude off chain. But he's trying to prove his loyalty harder than everybody else. Right? And he ain't on no, he's sincere. Because his heart's sincere while he's trying to prove himself, if you don't see the sincerity in your heart, you cannot possibly believe anybody was that serious. But when you see the authenticity, it takes away from what he looked like. And then it judges him on what is his character. Right? So we got a different way that we deal with other people than all the rest of the tribes. But then you have also growth and development Black nationalists who look at the politicized version of Afrocentric thought under the banner. They not wrong, because if standing from the position, let's assume that everything they told us is true. What is we supposed to do? We have to cover that base, right? Now, what if everything they told us was a lie? How do we know what to do? So now that's my responsibility. I got to cover that. I got to show you who did it, why they did it, where they did it, when they did it, and how they did it. If I can meet them to explain to you the deception, you should no longer be susceptible to fall for the deceit. If once you done heard the message and you still continuously fall for the deceit, then your desire is to be deceived. Because contrary to popular opinion, more people want to be lied to than told the truth, because the truth hurt.
They sure do.
And the lie massages egos. So they want you to massage their ego with the lie rather than tell them the cold, hard truth. And that's most people. If you tell them the truth, most of the time in this era, they say you was talking about them, or you was being mean to them, or that you evil, because you told them the truth, because people scared of the truth. Because then they had to deal with the fact that they pretended that they was going to live this lie without knowing it's a lie, and the whole time, because they didn't tell it to themselves, they allowed the lie to take hold and guide their perception. Right? So the hair and the understanding of cultures become critical aspects of all of our interactions on the land. Humans are pack animals.
That's right.
And the energy of a particular person is going to always establish them as the de facto leader, whether they want to be or not. Because you got the right knowledge and the right energy, and you telling the story from the angle